Hello, hello, hello. Calling in all the wild women that are meant to be seeing this, that are meant to be watching this. Today we have the third installment of Sync In Sessions, and today we're going to be joining by Altasha from Moon School. Yeah, let's just wait for her to get on. So today we are going to be talking about the topic rewilding the womb. Hi, Altasha. You can just request to join, love. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm thanks, and you.
I'm good, thanks. Thank you so much for asking me.
Oh, of course, of course. I've been wanting to have you on for a while.
Oh, that's wonderful. I remember we spoke, I don't know if this was years ago, but probably we spoke and we were even talking about maybe doing like some collab or something when I'm in Cape Town.
Yeah, we were thinking about maybe doing a circle together, which we still need to do when we.
Yes, that's definitely still on the table.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So you did red tents like quite a few years before me.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and do you want to maybe just go into a little bit about your journey with red tent?
Yes, definitely. So, um, to go way back, in about my early to mid 20s, one of my dear friends once mentioned red tents, right? And I never heard about this ever before. And so, um, in between all of that, I started really diving into like womb healing and womb wisdom and really connecting to my menstrual flow every month. And from there started this beautiful journey by itself. And then when I went to China, I worked there for a few years, and then I came back. And as a birthday present, my partner bought us 2 tickets to some yoga festival because I was still doing my 200-hour yoga certificate back then. And on the little list, agenda, I suppose, was red tent. And I'm like, I've heard about this before. I have to go. So
Yeah.
that's where I stepped into my very first red tent with Yannicki.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and it was raining and the weather was terrible, although it ended up being so medicinal, the rain, because we were literally rained in at this
Yeah.
festival.
Yes.
And as it rained, the tears flowed. And it was just such a huge release that took place during that festival for a lot of women. And yes, and then I connected with Yannicki and I was like, tell me everything. And so, yeah,
Mm,
and then every month I would journey all the way to Joburg to be in one of her tents. Um, and yeah, that's how it progressed, and that's my history of it. And then she offered a Red Tent Facilitators course, which I did, and I'm so grateful for doing that.
yeah. What
Um, yeah.
yours?
Pardon?
What year did you do the facilitator training in?
Sure. I think 2019 or 18,
Okay,
not
okay.
quite
I think I did
around there.
this later in 2020.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, it's been such a beautiful journey, hey, like using Red Tent as that foundation for that self-discovery and for really just realizing that there's more to the menstrual cycle and there's more to the womb than just being an organ, And
Mm.
I feel like this is such revolutionary information for so many women because most of the time we're not aware of this place of our body, but yet when we learn about it, it contributes to so much sense of safety in the body, so much like discomfort or comfort when we experience our menstrual cycle, and it actually plays such a huge role in the enjoyment of the embodied experience of being a human,
Mm.
of connecting in intimacy during sex, and just like that experience of being connected to the body, and how like Red Tent for both of us was that foundation to that doorway of self-discovery through the womb space.
Yes, yes, and it's beautiful how these women's circles and red tents were. I mean, you've probably you read the Red Tent book by Anita Diamant, right?
Yeah.
And what the way I'm just actually realizing it now. So what Red Tent and these women's circles did, I think, was bring us all into the Red Tent, like in that book, to birth the healing feminine
Mm,
and all her wisdom that comes
mm,
with it. You know,
mm,
the ones that aren't so nice to look at, the ones that are beautiful to look at, the shadow, the light, all of those different aspects to, like, we came back into the womb. It's as if those red tents were our collective womb space, right? And that's, I guess, what a red tent also is, it's going into the womb. That circle really represents the womb so deeply, doesn't it?
yeah.
Um,
Oh,
and we've all kind of branched out in our own ways, using our own language, for lack of a better word, our own frequency, energy, language,
mm.
to share this beautiful medicine.
Yeah, totally. And that each woman has that medicine living within her, within her womb space. And so often in this Western society, we place our power outside of ourselves by, asking doctors and practitioners, tell me what's wrong with my body, And I think one of the biggest self-empowerment journeys that I've been on through this womb healing journey is to bring that power back to myself and really bring that back to my body and be able to tap into my own heart and tap into my own womb and be like, what is really going on? What is below the surface? What is the root of this discomfort, this pain, this disconnection that I'm feeling, and
Mm,
like allowing myself, empowering myself to be my own best healer, to be my own best doctor, and not putting that power outside of myself, because knowing that is like you can really heal, because our bodies are capable of so much more healing than we actually give them credit for, and
mm,
the healing that we can take into our own hands. And really, if we want to heal so much from the inside out, I mean, for me, my personal journey with Red Tent was I was on the pill for 7 years, and so I never bled for 7 years. And then I discovered Yaniki and I joined the Red Tent facilitator training. And 2 months after I completed my training, I got my first natural bleed back. And that for me was so deeply honoring and powerful and special, that these practices and the training itself had reawakened the divine feminine energy within my womb space. And it was so strong and wanting to just burst out, into the world, that it couldn't wait longer. It just had to flow, and the river started flowing. And I just was so deeply blessed because, my hormones could have been messed up for many, many years, and the power of my body to heal itself and rebalance its own hormones so that I may bleed naturally was just too good to be true, you know. And it really empowered me to realize that if I can do this for myself, and if I can heal myself and get my natural cycle back after years of being disconnected from it, so can every other woman.
Literally my body is getting so emotional. I don't know if you can even see the tears, because my body's been through that, right? And just it's such a beautiful emotional thing to hear, because that power that comes from that is so immensely liberating. Taking your power back as, you know, as a female body is so revolutionary, because I don't think we really realize how much our gender has really been controlled for so long, right? It's created markers within our DNA. So when we talk about taking our power back, or activating the wild woman, or rewilding our womb, it's not about throwing off our clothes and howling at the moon.
Yeah.
It's not that picture, you know. It's much deeper than that. It is taking an assertive stance in the power of the female body, right? Her breasts, her hormones, her ovaries, her womb, her yoni, her clitoris, all of those things. It is taking that power back again and saying, how do these different things fit into my reality, right? And experiencing, it makes me so happy to hear women like celebrate their first like hormonal bleed, right? Because for so long we've been taught that it's a burden, and you know, hide it. We should be able to do everything that a man does and better, and bleeding, right? So we've been taught this a lot, and I'm just really enjoying that so many women are changing that narrative and really taking their power back through just the knowledge of hormones.
Totally. And the fact that we have been conditioned to show up every single day the same way, it's like, it goes against our cyclical nature and the cyclical nature of cycles and of our hormones, you know. And the only person that can show up every single day the same is men, because their testosterone resets every single day, whereas us as women, we have the estrogen dominance at the beginning of our cycle, and then the progesterone dominance at the end of our cycle, you know. And it's really about using these different waves of hormones to enliven our lives with more energy and more passion. And then when it is time to bleed, you know, we can take that time to actually rest without feeling guilty, because we have hustled at the beginning of our cycle, and we have done that work, and, you know, we've ticked all the boxes, and we've been in our masculine, and we've done all the things, you know. And it's then that time we can actually take without feeling guilty, because we can look back on our cycle and, you know, acknowledge all the ways in which we did give to the world, we did give to our work, we did give to our family, you know. And especially as us as women, as we get older, you know, we have more responsibilities. But if that responsibility isn't to ourselves first, I think this is where women experience deep burnout. And that's why cyclical living can change the nature of burnout for women, because it just doesn't allow for it to happen.
Yeah, like I get goosebumps, because this is this is so my jam.
Mm, yeah.
And I've experienced so much burnout over my life, right? And it's changed the game for me, and it's changed the game for me in my business, right?
Mm,
It has enabled me to write my narrative of being disciplined and my output, you know.
mm,
And also, when you do cyclical living, first of all, nature does that, right? Nature is the
yeah,
perfect example of cyclical living.
totally.
And when you start living in this concept of cycles, you get to experience the variety that your body has to offer you, and
Mm-hmm.
that the world around you then has to offer as well. So yes, I love that. And I mean, I suffered from burnout. I would get such deep adrenal fatigue and
Mm,
burnout. And then what would happen is I would feel guilty because I'm supposed to be doing it like a man. And, I should
yeah,
supposed to be hitting it every single day.
yeah,
And I would feel guilty. And then this toxic loop would start happening. And
totally.
now I can be more compassionate to my body, and
Mm.
she deserves it. And she repays me 10 times over if I do that.
Totally. And what I've also found is the more you actually take time to rest during your bleeding phase, during your winter, the more your body actually bounces back when you hit spring, when you hit summer, because it's taken that rest to integrate all the lessons and energy from the previous cycle. And then now it's like, cool, we've had that time. I'm keen to burst out of my shell again and get things going. And it's actually more productive. That's the funny thing. It's like
Yeah.
counterintuitive. It's more productive to
Yeah.
take to rest than it is to not rest, And so I think
Yes.
a deep programming that we need to reprogram within our mind, within our body, and understand like you cannot go 150% all the time. It's just not possible. Even animals, they hibernate for the winter, and all these different experiences of the seasons and of the cycles, that we can find power in.
Yes, exactly. Yes to all of that. Yeah, and especially if you use it in the sense that, because you were also now mentioning the seasons, that it's such a beautiful way to paint that picture for people who are more of a visual kind of person. And this is the other thing about cyclical healing, is that it works for every single body, every single type of person out there. If you're more scientifically inclined, it makes sense. It's based on science, right?
Yeah.
If you are more not scientifically inclined, right? The other way, more like
More,
artistically or creative, or
yeah.
yes, then connecting it to the seasons. It's you can't lose with this, right?
Yeah.
It it's gorgeous.
It really is, and like you said, it's connected to the science of our bodies and the release of the different hormones. And I think also when we work with these phases, we can actually start to also predict more, and like you said earlier, be more compassionate, because we know the internal workings of our body. And so we can actually, like, okay, if I know that I have a difficult or I experience PMS, then I can take that time to, connect with my womb and to tap in deeper. Because what I've also realized is that a lot of women may avoid their bleed time and may avoid their autumn because they are too afraid of like the emotions that may come with that rest, and that may come with taking that quiet time, because it can be overwhelming to not be connected to your womb space and wonder why you're experiencing this PMS, you're experiencing these cramps, you're experiencing these like mood swings. And you know, it's when we start to understand our womb as like a living entity within our own body, you know, we can actually try and communicate with her and be like, okay, I'm not going to shame her for acting the way she is. I'm going to accept her and deeply love her and try connect with her and listen to what she's trying to tell me, because I feel like we need to start seeing the symptoms of our body as communicative signals from our own body, you know, of our bodies trying to speak to us, trying to communicate something to us. And the only way it knows how to do that is through feeling and through you know, physical sensations. And so we need to be more, I think, curious about what those sensations and feelings are trying to point our attention to, rather than push them away.
Yes, and like you said as well, throughout your whole entire cycle, when you start tracking it, you will literally start to see how your body is communicating with you. For example, if you feel burnout or overwhelm during your summer phase when you're ovulating, it means that you were too busy during your spring phase, which is so, it can happen so easily because you feel so independent and you feel, you know, you're hitting it hard every day. So it's gorgeous. I'm in love with this work.
Yeah, really, me too. And do you want to speak a little bit about you just wrote a course, hey, on the cycles, on the
Yes. So on the 4th of the 4th, 2022, so 4th of April, we're starting with a 6-week program. We've got, you know, a whole lot of things are going to be included in that, including moon yoga, which is going to be, so there will be 4 moon yoga flows, basically, and they will be very closely aligned with each phase, right? It's not it's asana yoga, but it's not asana yoga, if that makes sense. It's an intuitive flow, and it borrows a lot from womb yoga as well. So yeah, I'm excited about that. It was only this year that I really got back into that yogic aspect again, bringing that the yogi body back into practice. So I'm excited to share that again. We will have weekly group calls and, of course, workbooks that will be sent to you once a week. And yes, I'm very excited about that. Today is the last day for our launch special. And if you decide that you want to join this, then you are going to get a whole bunch of free stuff, including a gorgeous feminine flow tracker. Okay, I don't have one close now, but
I
it's
feel
absolutely,
beautiful.
yes. Oh, it's gorgeous. And it was co-created with Shanna. I think she's actually watching here right now, as well as Roxy from Aligned with Purpose. She's on here as well. Thank you, ladies. So, yeah, it's something that we're super proud of. You get the free ebook, the free tracker, and you get a free one-on-one session with me as well, and a ticket to a masterclass. So,
Wow,
yes, let me know if you're interested in that, because I am crazy excited about this.
that sounds so much fun.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Really,
I actually had a question for you.
yes,
Um,
please.
when you, what's your advice for women who have had, for example, a full hysterectomy and who don't produce that estrogen hormone naturally? Because I also know that the pituitary gland is quite connected to your cycles as well. And yeah, what would you suggest, or what's your take on that?
Um, Honestly, I feel like it's really personal for the person's type of lifestyle, first of all. Like, we can't really use a one kind of band-aid fits all kind of situation. But I I think that it's all about using the energy that we have of the body to generate more energy, you know? And so how can we use the energy that we've got to, you know, uh, partake in deeper self-care practices that maybe are mimicking experiences that we can have if like before that experience, you know? And so it mimics the type of connection that we can reinitiate with our womb space.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
actually,
because the body has like muscle memory, right? It has that organ memory
it does, it
and
really does.
hormonal memory.
And our pineal glands, I think, a pineal gland and also pituitary gland, I think they linked in the hormone production. So like you said, that muscle memory, I have no doubt that the body is able to make up for that lack of estrogen in another way, in another form, you know, whether that's through increased dopamine or increased serotonin or increased endorphins, you know, like we need to use those other hormones that we can have, you know, because there's many feel good hormones that we have in our bodies, from endorphins to dopamine to serotonin to oxytocin, you know, and we can use that to increase self-love, to generate more energy in our bodies, and to stabilize the center that is our connection to ourselves.
Yes, because I read something interesting about an article about women relactating
Wow.
after they've had a full hysterectomy, but they had to have had a baby before
Yeah.
that, though. So it's. I think we're only starting to scratch the surface of the female body.
Same, totally. Even today, I gave a number to a friend of my gynecologist, and I said to her, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm experiencing really bad cramps, period cramps." And I said to her, just so you know, like the gynaes, they are amazing, but they're doctors, and they don't, like, Western medicine doesn't fully understand why we as women experience womb ailments, because it's usually not linked to like physical symptoms. It's usually not linked to a physical disease or something that's wrong with you. You know, the issues of the womb are majoritively emotional and spiritual disconnections that have happened over our lifetime, and, you know, to exposure to toxins and exposure to harmful chemicals. And as women, we need to realize that we need to approach this healing in a lot more gentle, more compassionate, more holistic way, you know. And I said to her, come see me for womb healing practices, because come see me for womb healing sessions, because this is literally what I specialize in, is helping women relieve their cramps in a more natural way, you know. That's not taking painkillers, that's not numbing ourselves out, that's not being on the pill, you know, because so many gynaes will say, well, just either take painkillers or go back on the pill, you know. And that's not really what we want. We want to find more natural alternatives that are body-based solutions. And I feel like this is the feminine revolution at its core, is we're not using external solutions, we're using body-based solutions, we're using solutions that are within our psyche, within our spirit, that can heal us, you know, that are just through connection, just through that understanding of self and body and mind, and the way those three are linked, you know.
I love what you said, body-based. What did you say, body-based?
body
Sorry?
Body-based solutions.
Body-based. I need to write that down. Just hold on. That's brilliant. Body-based solutions. Oh, I love that. So what I usually do is when I get a client or whatever, and they do have pain or whatever, I do ask them actually to first go to a gynecologist so that we can understand from just a medical point of view what is happening there.
Yeah.
And then we'll take it from there. So, you know, I do believe medicine modern medicine has its place, but it has
sure.
its place equal to body-based solutions.
Totally. And I feel like that's where the feminine direction is taking us, because the masculine affirms things through the mind, whereas the feminine affirms things through her body and through sensation and through feeling. And so really that is the core of what we're trying to do here, is we want you to feel womb so deeply that when you are bleeding and if you feel discomfort, you can deeply speak to her and deeply communicate to her and breathe space and love and healing into her, and have that connection. And then when you're making love to your partner, you can deeply feel her pulsating, her Shakti power is pulsating through you, and you can allow that to be deeply received by your womb space and deeply received in the heart space. And that can almost just blow you open, just the experience of that Shakti full power is something so unique to the female body, that when we allow ourselves to go there, we can just have these mind-blowing, life-changing orgasms that can really just enliven us and connect us to, this is the power of my womb. Like, she is speaking
Yes.
all over my whole body,
Yes.
I say to people, we have to go through that, because trauma is more dense than pleasure, and so we have to clear the density of the trauma in order to make space for the pleasure to come through. And sometimes that clearing can be shadow work, and so all women, we should always be asking for support in this healing phase, because no one needs to do it alone. We're not meant to be doing it alone. And so by healing and clearing away that density, that's when we can start to feel the true power of our womb. That's when we can start to fully understand why she was trying to speak to us through cramps, why she was trying to get us to reconnect to her, why, it's like, if we didn't know pain, how would we know pleasure? If we didn't know pleasure, how would we know pain? And it's just that beautiful polarity that helps bring us back into that true oneness.
Oh, I love that. I could feel all of that in my body. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. And thank you, for the work that you do and the wisdom that you share. It's so important. Thank you.
Oh, likewise, my sister. This has been such a beautiful conversation.
It has. It has been. Thank you.
And thank you for everyone else who's joined us live. We've really loved
Yes.
talking and having your
Thank you.
comments. Conventional medicine has its place, but the womb needs gentle, holistic, spiritual healing. Yes, Natalie. Yes. Kelly says we can listen to our body. We definitely should. Fully. And the body speaks to us through every single moment, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. There are so many subtle cues and little rhythms and little feelings that we can connect to. And the more aware we become, we have to practice a skill in order to get good at it. So in order to have that bodily based intuition, we need to practice it. So just, if you can take moments out of your day to just tune into your heart, tune into your womb, and just ask your body, what is here for me, what can I connect with, what can I feel, and not judging, just witnessing. And the more we can practice that, the more sensitive we can become to our body's own language, like you said earlier.
And if I can give one tip,
Please.
it would be to, when the sun goes down, also start switching off, if you can, as much as possible and as often as possible, switch off artificial lighting.
Yes.
It is a game changer.
Totally, especially
and it allows,
with hormone production.
Yes. Start doing that. That would be my number one tip.
Yeah, totally. Even me, I've been using candles, and salt lamps are amazing
Mm,
alternatives to bedside lights. Amazing.
yes.
Thank you, Altasha. Really
Oh,
appreciate
thank you.
you being here and sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you. And
And
thank you
yeah,
for inviting me. This was so fun.
it was super fun. Let's do it again soon.
Yes, 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 yes. Have
Have
a
a
beautiful
beautiful day.
day.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.